Alright, so first thing you're going to want to do is download the customization mod off of nexusmods.com and extract it to your plugins folder. If you've downloaded a mod before, you'll know where this is. If you haven't, then watch a tutorial for that because that's not what this video is about. Once you've got the customization mod downloaded and installed, start the game once to create all of the necessary folders for the mod. Alright, for the next step, you're going to want to download the Unity Hub, which you can get by just looking up Unity Hub download, clicking on this first link, and then scrolling down to download the Unity Hub, and then you click download for whatever software you're on. After you've installed the Unity Hub, you're going to want to go to the Installs section here, click Install Editor, and select really any version. It doesn't matter, but you can choose the recommended version here, and click Install, and all you have to do is just click Install down here. You don't have to select anything else. Once that's done, you're going to want to go to New Project. Make sure your editor version is selected to the one you just downloaded, or, of course, anyone. It doesn't really matter. And then Template should already be selected to 3D built in, but if it's not, then just select that. Name it to whatever you want. I'll just do tutorial video. You can set your location, and then just click Create Project. Your project will take a while to load, but once you're finally in, you're going to want to go to Window up here, Package Manager, and then change this Packages in Project to Unity Registry, and then in this little search bar up here, you'll want to search Shader Graph, and you'll see this package. So click this and click Install. When the Shader Graph package is done installing, you can close that tab and go to the Google Drive link that I put in the description. This will include a file called shadertemplate.unity package. You're going to want to download that and then just drag it into the Unity project. You'll see this little section, just click All and then Import. It's going to take a while to import, but once it's done, you will have all the assets needed. To set up the scene for our shaders, you're going to want to go to the Custom Shaders folder and drag this body file into the scene. You won't be able to see it, but that's just because of how small the model is. So over here on the right, you're going to see this transform section. For the scale, click this little button right here that enable constrained proportions. And then in the X, just set this to 100. This will make the character bigger. And if you want, you can rotate on the X-axis 90 degrees or negative 90 degrees to make him standing up. And now you have a little preview mesh for your shaders. So this tutorial is not going to be an entire tutorial on the shader graph itself, which is what we'll be using to make the shaders, but you can find many videos and external sources to learn it. I will be making an example shader in here, which will just be a galaxy shader. I'll display one on the screen here, and I'll just show you how to make it. So, in your template folder, you'll have these 4 different files. So just go back and duplicate this folder. You can name it whatever, I'll just name it Galaxy. So open this, and you can rename all of these files too. So instead of default material, I'll change this to Galaxy material. And this, I'll do Galaxy Graph, because this is the shader graph. And then for this one, this is the written shader, so we'll name it Galaxy Written. And this file you do not have to rename. So this graph, you can drag out onto the material, and then drag the material onto your body mesh in the scene right here. So double click this shader to open up the graph, and right here, this sample texture 2D LOD, you're going to want to just replace that file. So just drag in the texture down here with this one. It won't make any visible differences. It just is a file thing that will not work if you don't replace the reference. So then you can click Save Asset up here, and we can start on our shader. So this is going to be a galaxy shader. If you just want a normal shader with all these different values, then that's here. This is just like basically what the game uses as a default. But I don't want that. So I'm going to delete all of this, and then in this top left corner, I'll delete albedo, normal, metallic, roughness, emission, and occlusion. So you cannot delete hand distance underscore L and hand distance underscore R, or this whole section right here. There's a little comment that says do not remove this, so don't. This is necessary for the shader and it will not work without it. So I want to make a galaxy shader. For this, you'll need a galaxy texture. I will drag one in. So I have a folder and I will do galaxy cube map. All it is just a galaxy texture. It needs to be seamless so that it tiles correctly. If it has any like visible seams when you put the texture next to itself, then it will not work as good. So yeah, just select that. You can just drag it in here if you want, but I'm going to make it a little bit more dynamic by clicking the plus right here, adding a texture 2D, and naming it galaxy texture. I'll drag it up here, and then default, I'll drag in my galaxy cube map texture. So then you can drag this here. From the red pin, drag off and click sample texture 2D. This will just show your texture. And off of this, we are going to plug it into base color. And along with that, this top right corner, go to graph settings, and then material, change it to unlit. Then you can click save asset. You go out here. It might look all white, and that would just be because if you click your material, the galaxy texture doesn't actually have one selected. So make sure you drag that in there. As you can see, it looks pretty bad right now. We haven't actually made it work as a galaxy texture would. So I'll go back to my galaxy graph, and we will start the process of making it how galaxy texture should look. So off of this UV node, we're going to add a tiling and offset. You don't need to change any of these settings yet, but off of this UV, we're going to add a position node. You don't need to change the space, world will work fine, and then just drag this up to make it a little bit more neat. So if we save this and go back, you can see it looks a little bit better, but still not perfect. So we're going to need to change some stuff. Back up here, I'm going to click the plus, add a float, and name this tiling. For the default value, you can just set it to 1, and then take this and put it in the tiling thing right there. Now you can save that, and nothing will have changed, but if you go into the material, you can change the tiling here, which basically just makes the size on it different. I actually think I chose the wrong galaxy texture here, so I'm just going to re-import that real quick. Alright, I re-imported my texture, which means I'll need to replace the reference with it. And then in galaxy graph, I'm going to select this galaxy texture and then replace it again. With my previous texture, it wasn't tileable, which made it have visible seams through the middle, but now it looks much better. And if you were to select the body and click one of these arrows and move it, you can see that if I move the body, the texture kind of stays there and creates that galaxy effect in the shader. So now I'll just reset this position back to 0, 0, 0. And there's one more effect that we can add to make it look better. So off of this RGBA node, we'll make an add, and then put this back to base color. And then down here, right click, create node, Fresnel effect. So select Fresnel effect, and then create a new float up here. So click the plus sign, float, and name it Fresnel Power. So then you can put this, you can drag it up, and the default, I'll set it to 2.5. So I'll drag this down and then plug it into power. So off of here, we'll go here and do a multiply node. And then drag that into the add, and we can move this all a bit back. So for this multiply node, we'll add another variable up here, and we'll make it a color, and name this Fresnel color. So I'll just put that above the Fresnel power, and for default, I'll just make it white. If you drag this here and do that, you won't see any difference, but if you save it, you can see that it adds this almost like an outline type of effect. But if you go into your material, you can change all these settings for it, like how like white it is like that, and then the color, you can make it whatever you want. So that's just the shader tutorial I'm going to do for this video. I won't go too in depth with anything else. So if you just want something like that, then there you go. You can use this. So once you're done, you're going to need to do some very specific things. So you can click the first file that's in this folder, and in the bottom right corner you'll see asset bundle, and it'll say template. We're gonna click on that, click new, and name it whatever. It doesn't matter, so I'll just name mine Galaxy. And then for each item in this folder, you'll need to click on it and change it to Galaxy. Okay, once that's done, you're gonna click on your shader graph, and this part isn't necessary if you're testing your shader, but it is once you're like completely done with the shader, ready to upload it. This part is very necessary. So you're going to click on the shader graph and click copy shader. Then open your Galaxy written shader, the written one, and it should open Microsoft Visual Studio. And then you're just going to click Control A to select everything, and then Control V to paste in what you just copied. So you can scroll up to the top here, go back to Unity, and then go to our template folder, and then select default deform shader. Open that, and you'll see this section right here. So just highlight this stencil section under pass, copy it, and then go to your Galaxy shader. You can go here, enter right where it was in the other shader, and then paste. Then you can save this, and that's all we need to do in the written version. Close both of these, and this part is important. Then you're going to drag your written shader onto the material. It shouldn't change anything. It should look the exact same. And then click on the material, and then render queue. You're going to want to change this to 1982. And now you're done. You can click File, Save. But to get this in the game, you're going to want to click Tools, and then Build Asset Bundle. The asset bundle name, I'll just do Galaxy. And then output path, you can choose Select Output Folder. And what you're going to do is go to your A Difficult Game About Climbing folder, WeaponX, Plugins, Customization Mod, and then Body Materials. So just select that folder, and then you can click Build Asset Bundle. It'll take a while to build this, so just wait for that. All right. Once your asset bundle is built, you're going to want to start the game, click F1 to open the Customization Mod menu, and then for Body Material, you're just going to choose whatever your material name was. So mine was Galaxy Material. I'll select that, and then click Save. Now you can see that our character has the shader selected. This is the exact one we made in the tutorial. Yours might look different depending on what textures and settings you used. But yeah, that's the tutorial. If you have any questions, make sure you watch the video in its entirety, follow every steps, or you can DM me on Discord by this username here. So that's going to be it. Oh my gosh. Oh my god.